My name is Robert Kraft. I'm a local guy, grew up here. This is my home. I've been mayor for 17 years, since '08. I was on the council from '04 to '08. And I do know that we've got growth challenges here, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because the growth creates traffic issues and congestion, and that upsets our residents. But the value of the growth is that provides the revenue that we need to operate this city. The tax dollars from tourism is about 70% of our budget. Controlling that and not letting it to be too much is a reasonable thought, but stopping it is not. We depend on their money to operate the things that we do. They give those of us that live here opportunities we would not have otherwise with the taxes we now pay. This council, for 21 years I've been on it, has not raised a single tax, not $1, for our residents of Gulf Shores. We fund our operations through lodging tax and a retail tax that is paid by the locals, but it's also paid by all of the tourists. Their total is about 70% of everything that we have on our $83 million budget that is balanced. So with $83 million worth of expenses as the budget, we've got closer to $90 million worth of revenue. So we can create reserves every year to put into reserve banks. So that's where I am. I intend to run on very similar than what we've been doing. Do the best we can to protect the quality of life in the small town, big beach that we love, but also protecting the revenue source that all of our people that live here. If you work in this area, you are connected somehow to the tourism industry. So taking away the revenue from families, from what they make from where they work for a living, and taking away the revenue that the tourists provide us for us to be able to run this city without taxing the residents is the platform that I have run on and will continue to run on. Well, I'm a Foley High School graduate, so I'm truly a local. Graduated in Foley in 1969, went to Auburn, graduated from Auburn with a degree in ag business in 1974, came home, and my father had the wisdom to purchase a piece of property, a valuable piece of property in the late 50s, early 60s. Which I would have never had the opportunity to do. But he had the land and he was leasing it to corn and soybean farmers, and I came home and converted it to the first commercial turf grass farm in Baldwin County and started selling turf grass all along the coast, and eventually started growing grass for golf courses. Got to know a lot of golf course developers, provide a lot of the grass that went onto the Marriott Golf Plus at the Grand Hotel, and met some of the golf course developers and designers. And at that point in time, Gulf Shores was growing at a rapid rate, and they just built the Perdita Beach Resort, which was a Hilton at that time in Orange Beach. And the people that were running that were looking for a golf course. And one of the guys that was on-site supervisor happened to be a good friend of my father's. They played golf most afternoons together. And he planted the seed in my father's brain about, you need to build a golf course. So with all the land that we had in turf and growing grass, it was something, he played golf a lot, I played golf a lot. It intrigued me that we had the potential to think about building a golf course. So then it started evolving into, okay, if we're going to build a golf course, there was no sewer or water north of the Intercoastal in 1985 when we were doing that. It wasn't up here. So the debate with the city of Gulf Shores of if you'll run sewer to the corner of County Road 4 where our property was, we'll take it from there and run it into our property, but we need access to sewer or we can't do what we want to do. And the answer was no, that we're not going to do that. You pay for it and we'll rebate you another hookup. Well, that created financing means that I didn't have, and my father was not going to participate. He wasn't putting it, he called it his stash, his money that he's for retirement. He wasn't going to put in anything that had a level of risk. So we basically said no. Then things evolved, and I got a call from some folks that represented Arnold Palmer, and we started talking to them because I thought, my gosh, if we can do that, we'll change the way the world thinks about Gulf Shores, at least the golfing world, forever. It would have been the first fundamental endorsement, so to speak, of having someone of that level talking about Gulf Shores. So I had the opportunity to go back to the city council and ask them again, if you will commit to run sewer up north of the Intercoastal up to County Road 4, I will work to bring Arnold Palmer to design our golf courses, and we'll change Gulf Shores forever. And we got a vote. They said yes. Mayor Tom Norton raised his hand and he said, "You think I can meet Mr. Palmer?" It was a really delightful day, but it also worked for us, because if we were going to make golf work here, we had to do it with bringing people to town to play golf and getting people to move here because of golf courses. So that's how I got to where I was, and then that's also how I got to believe that maybe at some point in time I'm going to run for city council, because I felt like there should be encouragement to somebody that's going to do something that will significantly affect the future of our city. And I ran into a roadblock, and that kind of changed my philosophy of everything. The seed was planted, and that's how I got to thinking about Gulf Shores. That's how I realized I could bring some good ideas to the city council and help things move forward. Given the cost of everything escalating like it did, we got projects that we haven't built that we need to build. We've got a park up on Coastal Gateway Boulevard. We got a park up there that we weren't able to build because of budgetary. That has to be done. We've promised that as a park with a rec center and all the things that go with it. North of the Intercoastal, we don't have one up here, and we need one. So that is a future goal that is at the top of the list. We also have Canal Road that we're rerouting around where the new pedestrian bridge is being built. Right now it's going through a subdivision. We're deep at work with AlDOT and trying to get the right of way from the federal government of the state park where the road needs to go around this residential area, extend 20th further up to the east, and then go north down through 10th up to the existing Canal Road. That's the next thing we need to do there to get the road out of that subdivision. That subdivision was never designed, that little 3rd Street reroute was never designed to be permanent. It's short term. It was the immediate opportunity so we could build the ped bridge, so that when we opened the 3rd lane, we had a place for pedestrians to get across the Intercoastal. So we had to do things like that. So those two things are really important because we've committed to do those. We've promised the people we were going to build them a park. We've promised the people we were going to get that out of their subdivision, and that's what we're working on. Well, traffic is one thing. Growth management is another thing. How do we deal with entitlements that we have on land that people have bought? And that the value of the land is not the land necessarily, it's what you can do with the land. So what's your zoning? What does it allow you to do? What are the entitlements that go with it? That tells you how valuable your property is. Well, when zoning was created in Gulf Shores in 1984, they decided that on the beach, the waterfront of the beach, that was perfect place for 42 units an acre, 20 stories tall. And that was what they gave all of the beach areas. At that point in time, there was no sewer north of the Intercoastal, so there was no development up there, but you have a lot of property owners that said, well, we're on the water too. And so they gave these large blocks of land up here 42 units an acre. The same thing they did at the beach. Well, those are entitlements that you just can't take away. You can't take away somebody's right in the value of their property. So it's very difficult to lower the density and lower the opportunity that they have and lower the value of their land without negotiating with them and coming up with something that they agree is worth it. So the growth management is a challenge. It's a challenge because we've got so many entitlements in place that will create density, and trying to negotiate with all the property owners to get them to voluntarily agree to lower it is a challenge. We've got one example where we were able to do that on one big development on the east side that did not have a road, had no road access. It was out in the middle of nowhere. But it happened to be on an area where we were looking for, through the Restore Act, a road to be built to connect Highway 59 to the Beach Express. It worked out that could go straight along the side of his property. But he had 42 units an acre, and the grant would pay for 100% of the construction. but it wouldn't pay for the soft costs. The soft costs meant the engineering and all the site work and everything necessary to build it, which the city had to pay for. So we negotiated a deal. You pay half the soft cost, we'll pay half. We'll use the restore money to build the road. But then you got to lower your density from 42 units an acre. And we started at 10, lowered from 42 to 10, we negotiated a settlement 15. He lowered it from 42 units an acre to 15 units an acre on 230 acres of land. That math is pretty compelling, is how much we took off that. But that was a negotiated reduction in density. We're having those same conversations in other areas along the north side of the intercoastal that have those same type of entitlements.